The world's most amazing people. Guys, I got a great guest coming up. You guys know him. This guy is, he's broken ground with something that everybody, I'm not just talking about people in broadcasting or business people, whatever. I'm talking about, everybody. Everybody procrastinates. And Eric Twiggs, he wrote this book, and people are just taken to it like fish to water. How's that analogy? Fish to water. That's real original. Thanks, Case. You're terrific. You go on his website. If you go to ericmtwiggs.com, this guy has conducted over 28,000 coaching sessions with entrepreneurs. He's led organizations of 500 or more people in corporate America. $50 million in avenue revenue was accessed. He's sharing his message and his skill set across the country. And this is from his own personal experience. And look, procrastination, everybody does it. And that's why I think he's so successful with this book, The Discipline of Now. And guys, with no further ado, it's my honor and my privilege to bring back to WMAP Mr. Eric Twiggs. Eric, what's going on, man?
Hey, thank you for having me on your show once again.
You're a busy man. That's because you don't procrastinate. You're doing a speaking gig tomorrow, right?
Yes, I am.
Where's the red carpet showcase for the Delta Sigma Theta? Is that the Delta Sigma Theta sorority? And that's in Woodbridge Middle School, Woodbridge, Virginia, noon to 3. Tell me about that gig. That sounds pretty cool. It's a sorority.
Yeah, so Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Shout out to the Deltas who may be listening right now.
Nice.
It's a graduate chapter. We're expecting over 100 people in attendance. So I'll be speaking about overcoming procrastination and signing books from 12 to 3. They're also showcasing other merchandise and things of that. And it's like an annual event that they have each year. So I'm fortunate to be speaking and kicking it off, talking about overcoming procrastination.
That's cool. Are you like a keynote speaker type thing, or are you just talking about your book?
Just talking about the book.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Discipline of Now. I mean, I asked you this before, but you couldn't expect that it would blow up like this.
No, I mean, I've just learned it's just kind of hard to predict, what's going to really go viral or what's going to do well. But every day I'm amazed when I talk to people or people reach out to me on social media about the impact it's having on them in their life. And
how cool is that? What's the main thing you think that people come up to you and they say, look, I read this book and this is the one thing that I did that you put in there and it really changed the way that I do things and it's made me more efficient?
Well, so the big thing is they'll identify with some of the reasons for procrastination. Like they'll tell me that they're afraid and they can relate to some of the stories that I share within the book. I have a lot of people that tell me they were procrastinating on starting a project and now they've read the book. And so one of the things I talk about is writing the power of writing your goals down and writing a to-do list. And so people will come back and they'll tell me that, since they've read the book, now they're writing their goals down. They're writing their goals down every day, and it's helping.
Mm-hmm. And that to you, I mean, since the first time we spoke, that was something that you said, this is a simple thing that everybody needs to do. I don't know what would happen. What would happen if I took away your yellow pad and your pen? Would you be able to get by, Eric?
Well, I've been doing it for so long.
Right.
I could, but it would be a struggle.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, like every now and then, because like I'll use like a 3x5 card that I keep in my pocket.
Oh, okay.
And like sometimes I'll sit my card down somewhere and go to another place, and I got to get my card.
Wow. So, and Eric, another thing that besides the success of the book, I mean, people are getting you to speak at all these different things. Like tomorrow, we just talked about tomorrow. That's going to be from noon to 3 at the Woodbridge Middle School in Woodbridge, right? But then, look, in January, you're going to this Baptist church in Arlington, Virginia. You become, this sought after, speaker. I mean, did you think that would be a reality?
Well, again, it's really hard to predict. No, I have to tell you, I am overwhelmed by some of the responses I've gotten to the book and how it resonates with people. So at Mount Zion, we're doing this big kickoff to really start off the year with a commitment to overcoming procrastination, and people are going to leave with specific tools and strategies they can use to last them throughout the year.
That's nice. All right, let's get into that because you've helped my listeners a lot with giving out these things. I've actually taken them into my repertoire. You know, I try. Well, okay, Eric, I'm lying. The cell phone thing. I tried to do it for a couple days, but then look, I got to be. Look, I own this thing here, so if someone has a problem, I got to be there. It doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. I got to be there. So that's hard for me to do. You say leave that cell phone on a different floor. You don't even sleep with your cell phone, right?
No, it's on a completely different floor. I mean, come on, Casey. I see now I have to work with you a little closer here.
No, I need it, man.
But no, I think I shared this with you before, but the cell phone is so distracting. There are people that there's something that's called phantom notification syndrome.
I turn those off.
Right. So, well, here's the way it works is you'll have your phone, let's say, in your pocket, and you'll have your phone off, but you feel it vibrating even though it's off.
Yeah.
Because you're so conditioned to check your phone. True.
There's so much to worry about. Yeah.
So think about it. The phone is so distracting that it even distracts you when it's off.
It's that's a good point. Yeah, it's so true, man. Hey, Eric, do you yearn for the days like I do when there were no cell phones? People had to call you up with a rotary dial, and you couldn't be found if you didn't want to be.
Yeah, some days. I mean, it's interesting because sometimes someone will call you and you call them back 15 minutes later. Hey, did you get my message? Oh, man, hey.
Yeah. Everybody knows what you're up to. I didn't have my phone on me, right?
Right.
Yeah, everybody knows that thing. But you know, I think your success with this book, Eric, we're talking about the discipline now. I think it's because everybody can relate to it. I think it's something that everybody, they see themselves, hey, I do that, and I wish I didn't do that. How do I get around that? And you've talked about before, the cell phone, number one. Give the audience another one because these have been real helpful. The book is filled with these little nuggets of information, not telling you, hey, don't procrastinate, but here's a way to do it. So give me another example, Eric.
So I kind of touched on this earlier, but if you can get in the habit of writing your goals down every day, mm-hmm. that will go a long way to help you overcome procrastination.
You talking
because
about
a lot of times
okay, go ahead,
when
sorry.
you procrastinate.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm sorry. I was going to say short-term or long-term goals.
Well, the immediate goal that you identify, the thing that you're working towards, the thing that's going to really move you forward, it's kind of your big goals.
Okay.
And you have to write it down kind of in the present tense. So if you're looking to launch your own business, let's say, I would write that down every day. I am a business owner. I am a business, and get as specific as possible, whatever your business is. If you write that down, you'll find you start taking steps in that direction.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you're saying actually writing the goal that you want to happen, the end result. It's kind of like if you read it enough, or you know what? I think that makes sense because if you lie long enough, you start to believe the lie. You know what I mean?
But you know what it is? It's the repetition. So if your goal is to write a book, I am a published author. I am a published author. I am a published author. And you start to write that every day. And what it is, a lot of times procrastination happens because you lack the necessary motivation. Mm-hmm. And then having that goal, because what happens when you write it every day, it becomes a part of your subconscious.
I see. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. That's getting into some psychological thing. But if I take it from you, this works. You start to believe it after a while, I guess.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and you start finding different opportunities that you may have missed before to start to accomplish that.
Eric, what about that negative self-talk? Everybody does. I don't know. I don't have the funds for this. I don't have the patience. I don't have the time. What about that? What about those lies we tell ourselves?
Yeah, that is huge, and that's why in the book where I talk, I go through the procrastination prevention pyramid. The attitude is the first step on the pyramid that you have to address, because it's all about these negative stories that we tell ourselves. I can't do this. I'm too young to do this. I'm too old to do that. You have to become aware of those negative limiting those stories that are really like limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
That'll really hold you back. And there's a book, I know I've written a book, but there's a book I would recommend. It's the title of it is What You Say When You Talk to Yourself.
And who's that by?
The guy is Dr. Shad Hemstetter.
What's that about? Something that had an effect on you?
Well, yes, it talks about self-talk. So the premise of the book is how, most of our self-talk, like if you just kind of sat there and just kind of listened to some of the thoughts that go through your mind, like 75% of it is negative.
Yeah.
And especially like when you're trying to accomplish a major goal, let's say if you're trying to write a book or you're trying to launch your own business, you start getting all these negative, oh, well, what if I fail? Or you can't do this, or I'm too young, I'm too old, Right.
Yeah.
But if you're on autopilot, that becomes a limiting belief and a story you're telling yourself, and you won't move forward.
Well, when you were writing The Discipline of Now, did any of that come into consideration? Did you have any of that self-talk, and what'd you do with
certainly.
it? Yeah?
Certainly.
How'd you deal with it?
Well, I just had to buckle down. And, again, it goes back to awareness. I mean, one of the things, the perfectionism thing was hitting me pretty hard.
Well,
as
that's
I was
who you
going
are.
through the process.
That's who you are, and that's something that's going to be tough for people like yourself. But it worked out, and I want to know how you got past it.
Well, again, I just got in the habit of, and I tell you, I went to a writing lab, and they really emphasized this. I'm a part of the National Speakers Association, so I was at one of these conventions, and they had like a writing lab for all writers. So we sat there, and they just had us do an exercise where you just sat there and wrote whatever first thing that came to mind. Don't worry about trying to edit. And that's where it clicked for me that I was trying to write and edit at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of a perfectionist thing.
Right.
Where with writing, you just have to get your thoughts out and then go back and take a look at it with a fresh set of eyes.
I got you. So when you were doing this exercise, how much of that made it into The Discipline of Now? Did you find some, it was probably murky, but there was a couple ideas in there that, hey, this is, going back on it, this is what I want to put in there? Is that how it worked?
The funny thing, where I was talking about the cost of procrastination, a lot of that came from that day I was sitting in that writing lab.
Really? All right. So that's a good exercise to do then.
And you know what? I was amazed at how the ideas were flowing. It was like effortless. I sat there without the pressure of trying to edit.
Right.
And I was just so amazed with all the things that came to me.
And do you conduct your life in that way now that you've learned that, where you have to look, you're a guy who's hugely successful. You've done so many different things in your career, but everything has to be in a certain way. Have you learned through this book? Maybe did that teach you by writing the book that you don't have to do everything at one time? You can take some time to do it. Tell me about the process of that.
Yes, I would say I've developed some really, even like as I write blogs and things like that, I still maintain a lot of the same habits that I took away from this the book writing journey.
Mm-hmm.
Just as far as just getting my thoughts down on paper, and just really, the other thing that helps is when you develop certain routines, it kind of triggers your self-conscious.
Like
so
what?
Like little things like I have a separate laptop that's my writing laptop.
Oh.
So I have two laptops. I have one laptop I'll do general business, but I have a separate, if I'm going to write a blog or something like that, I have a separate laptop. And believe it or not, it primes me. It primes my self-conscious, and I find the ideas start coming to me.
It makes sense because I read a book one time, the screenplay book, how to write a screenplay in 30 days. One of those things, and they said it at a time when you sit down. Whether it's a hat that you wear or a wristband or a pencil, whatever it is, that one thing you only do when you're writing. And
yes.
Maybe that's something kind of what you're talking about. Maybe conditioning yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So different people do different things. Some people will take a certain route on their way to their office, and that just kind of triggers them that it's time to write. So, yeah, I think if you get a consistent routine, that can really help to overcome the writer's block and kind of get things to flow.
And how long would something like that take, Eric? For the listeners that are like, they're like, hey, this is going to be, I'm going to try it. But if they get, maybe they might be a little, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's when when you're discouraged, when you get discouraged very quickly, is this going to happen overnight, or how long do you expect this to happen?
No, I mean, generally speaking, it takes anywhere from 21 to 30 days to form a habit.
Wow.
So that's the key. I'm glad you brought that up, is you can't expect just overnight to embrace certain habits. Sometimes you just have to do it and do it and do it, and before you know it, now it's become a habit.
Because a guy like a perfectionist like yourself, if it doesn't come to you right away, you probably get discouraged sometimes.
Yeah, and so the thing is you have to not judge yourself. So that's the other thing I see a lot of times is when, like, if you fail or if you say, okay, I'm going to start writing every morning, I'm going to write 600 words, and let's say you miss a day, you start judging yourself, and you say, oh, see, I'm such a procrastinator. But you just have to keep going. You know, if you miss a day, you just have to get back up and do it again the next day. And you'll find if you can free yourself from that judgment, and that, again, goes back to the self-talk.
Right.
You know, if you can free yourself from that negative self-talk, eventually you'll form the habit.
Eric, do you ever think about talking to kids? Because I think you'd be real effective. I mean, going to schools. Do you ever do any of that?
Yeah, from time to time. I'll do things like with the college group. I know one time I did something with it was a group of 6-year-olds. That's very interesting.
I bet it's a little different. It's a little different than going to the what is it, the Delta Sigma Theta sorority at Woodbridge Middle School. That's tomorrow, noon to 3. I just threw that in. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's got to be different. I mean, working with 6-year-olds there. I mean, you as a perfectionist, it's got to test your patience. Come on, man.
Yeah. So the challenge, I mean, when you're dealing with the younger people, is they have a much shorter attention span. much. So you really have to make it interactive. You have to make it like, if I'm doing something for a group like that, most of it is interactive. Most of it is them talking. You know, me asking a couple of questions, making it fun, giving them exercise, those types of things. But I mean, my target audience, generally, it's like entrepreneurs, or if I'm doing younger people, it's usually like kind of the college environment.
And how much support you get from I call them Q dogs. I don't know the long the chapter, but I know that's been a source of support for you. Your fraternity.
Yes.
Who is that? Tell me about it and how it's helped you.
Oh, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Shout out to my brothers who may be listening. It's been a huge help, tremendous. Because, I mean, you have individuals in all walks of life, and one of the things with my fraternity brothers is we're brutally honest. Brutally, you know.
All right.
So if I do a presentation for a room full of my brothers and they're telling me, wow, Eric, that was great, I know they're telling me the truth.
Okay.
Because I know if it wasn't good, they're going to tell me that.
You know, it's good to have that, man. That's when you know these people are your friends and they care about you. Because if everything is awesome,
I need that.
You do. We all need that.
Absolutely.
You know. So now, what chapter? I know there's a bunch of chapters. I used to have a bunch of teammates that were in that fraternity. There's different chapters. Did you join in college? How does that work?
Yeah, so I pledged in college at Hampton University.
Okay, Virginia, right? That's right.
Yeah, Hampton, Virginia. Yeah, it was a few years ago. We won't discuss the year, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's
a few years ago. Let's just say that.
But yeah. Eric, you know what? I heard this saying one time. It's better to have been a has-been than a never was. But
there you go.
But you know, you're killing it. You with the speaking and the book, guys, get the discipline now. I'm telling you, as a silly radio host here, this guy makes so much sense, and I can understand it. So if I can understand it, everybody out there can get it. So go to ericmtwiggs.com, pick up the book. Is it better to get it there or go to Amazon? Eric, where do we get the Discipline Now?
Well, so if you want a signed copy, you can get it from ericmtwiggs.com.
Okay. All right. So ericmtwiggs.com. Okay,
Yes.
So one more time, guys. Eric M. Twiggs, go to ericmtwiggs.com. The Discipline Now is the book. Tomorrow, go to the Red Carpet Showcase for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated at the Woodbridge Middle School. 2 2201 York Drive, Woodbridge, Virginia, noon to 3. And then January 13th, where are you going to be?
I'm going to be at the Mount Zion Baptist Church, 3500 South 19th Street, Arlington, Virginia, at 3 o'clock p.m.
How come you're not making it to New York, Eric? Why not?
I'm waiting for you to invite me, Casey. I'm waiting for that invitation.
I don't want to hear that you're procrastinating. I want you here in New York. I need help.
Eric, I got to talk to you about that cell phone thing. So.
Yeah. You got to tell me that. Eric, look, every time you come on, you're a great guest, and people love you. I love when you come on. Thanks so much for everything that you're doing. I can't wait to hear, how these signings go, and these people that you touch. I bet there's going to be a bunch of people that have your book and like, hey, man, I got to tell you something. Do you look forward to that?
I do, and that's the most rewarding thing is the feedback I get and how they tell me their lives have changed and they're making changes for the better.
That's awesome. Guys, Eric M. Twiggs, my guest, and he's a regular here, and we love when he comes on. So stay tuned for WMAP, and he is going to be coming up. We'll hear from him, and we'll check in with him in a little bit. Eric, thank you so much for coming on. You're really one of the world's most amazing people.
Thank you, Casey. It's always a pleasure.
God bless.
See what them racket boys can do. Now there's trouble busting in from out of state, and the DA can't get no relief. Gonna be a